So, let's do. I'll do a brief for those listening. I'll do a little recap on the previous session for anyone that missed it or for anyone that needs a refresher. In last week's episode, the group were captured, having their cart sort of broken down. Some goblins managed to intercept your long walk home, tie you up, and drag you off to a small cave, which looks by appearance that it used to be a mine shaft but has been reclaimed by greenskins and made into their dwelling. Having awoken within the cave, you find the several remains of previous individuals that look like they'd pretty much been eaten and cooked, and some thrown off of large cliffs for the sake of entertainment. But tackling the foe, you're able to smite them down, with a little bit of damage being sustained by Oleg and Rogel, but otherwise everyone intact. And surveying your surroundings one last time as you move to leave, having opened the sort of trap door that sort of bars the entrance to this, you hear a noise from beside you, and stepping out from behind a large stalagmite, a red-headed lady moves and approaches.
Fraulein, what are you doing here by yourself? This is no place for a lady.
Where was she when we were getting ravaged by snotlings?
What?
No, we just got ravaged by snotlings, Thorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but where was
I was traveling down
Hiding.
to Bogenhafen when my group was killed by these goblins, and now I'm groupless. Where might you be heading?
Ah, what a coincidence. We are also headed to Bogenhafen, and we should be
Excellent.
staying there for the time being.
And what is your name?
Ich bin Grimwald Verlassenson, and I slowly tap Oleg on the shoulder. Bruder, you may introduce yourself?
Oleg tips his pilot hat. He looks a little worse for wear. Doesn't seem much for conversation right now.
And what about you, the one in the back? A little shorty.
Well, you'll notice that he's short, but he's slightly taller than a halfling and very thin. And you'll notice that he's very deep in thought right now, and he's not even really paying attention. You might hear him mumbling to him, "Yeah, hiding might have been better."
Yeah.
He's not
worked
really
fine
paying
for
attention
me.
to you.
A gentleman beside the group also. Oh, hello there. Pleasure to see you. I'm William, advisor.
Nice to meet you. So, what business do you have going to Bogenhafen?
If we can tell you that over some good wine, or some good brau.
Sounds good to me.
As you're standing there, Sienna, you can notice to your left, only some feet away from you, is this sort of big, red, juicy mass of bone and flesh. Having been a bit distracted by sort of some potential saviours, you can see the remnants of what would look to be, seeing the occasional face and sort of piece of clothing in between, your previous travelling compadres.
Does it smell?
It smells a mixture. The actual flesh is starting to sort of rot a little bit, and the viscera is leaking out some fluids, which are smelling a little bit rancid. But there's also the smell of some cooking meat over the stove as well, which is somewhat more fragrant, although it's fairly safe to assume what's inside that pot.
Yeah. I just shiver and slightly move away from it and imagine how that could have been my fate if I was less lucky.
Okay.
Anyhow, my name's Sienna.
What time of day is it?
You don't actually know.
We don't know.
You woke up within a
Yeah,
cave.
we're underground.
You're underground right now,
Well-
indeed.
Guten Tag. Guten Tag to you as well.
There is, however, a little bit of light peeping from behind where the door that was opened by yourselves, and you can see a small amount of light coming through this sort of dark tunnel, so one would assume that there may be some form of daybreak.
We should get out of here before reinforcements come.
I think it would be safe to assume that we killed them all. Ja, Bruder?
Yeah, I think so.
Step away from the dead bodies.
So,
No,
Sienna
no.
was?
Yeah.
Okay, was anyone in your previous party a caster or someone who used magic regularly?
Not as far as I know, I'm sorry. I didn't know them before, I just hitched a ride.
Okay, alright.
Did you take a coach and not a boat?
Triggered.
Everyone eyes up Oleg as he gets triggered.
I'm sorry, but if I could fly, I would do that as well. Anything's better than a boat.
What? Nothing is better than a boat, ma'am.
We'll see
Well, before
about
this
that.
devolves any
Buddha-
further,
Buddha, do not listen to this fowl. She's clearly mistaken. She's probably not have had enough sunlight in her face and probably hasn't eaten in a while. She might be a little bit crazy. So I would just ignore her for the time being.
We'll see about that short stuff. Yeah, I'm down
Get
for
going
that.
to Bogenhafen.
as we're leaving, you see Rogel
Yeah.
massaging his temples at the prospect of traveling with you.
Okay.
Oh, come on, it is not that bad.
Just as an aside, did we actually pull the lever to open the
Yes.
gate?
Toward the
Okay.
end of the last session, it was narrated to have been done. It wasn't actually done
Gotcha.
in pixels, but it was done during your recuperation period and exploration. So,
I'm just going to walk out and start leaving.
you make your way toward the exit and see a very small shimmer of light coming from perhaps some 30 yards ahead of you, around a corner perhaps. And this entrance, although fairly sort of clean and chiselled out with occasional wooden beams supporting the ceiling, does get fairly narrow, enough for perhaps 3 people to stand side by side. And as you approach the exit, numerous bushes seem to be drawn in front of this cave's or mine shaft's entrance. Brushing them to one side, you are treated to the early morning view of Bogenhafen off in the distance. Still likely a day's travel. You find your location fairly high up currently, on the side of a rather large hilltop, but with your town over yonder in the distance, and you can spy as well down in the sort of valleys below a few roads heading toward town.
Do we have any sights or signs of any horses or coaches?
Can I see a river?
Both of you make me a perception check. But yes, you can see the river because you can see Bogenhafen, but let's see how much detail you can pick up.
Do we get any bonuses?
Yeah, let's have a +10 as we have some early morning daylight.
Ooh, critical success.
Grimwald looking very sharp. You don't see any actual sort of horses lying around or anyone on the move in the distance, even though your eyes sort of sharpening to this new daylight. You can, however, notice a road at the base of your current hill, which has a straight path toward the eastern gate. And appears to be fairly open, and but no one currently travelling. It's pretty much just daybreak here. And Oleg, you can see the river, but the mist is sort of just in its settling phases of the early morning, so it's still a little bit hard to make out the details. You think maybe there's a ship there? You can see a little bit of a moving shadow, but can't make out any details. Likewise, Thorn able to spy the city ahead and survey the same surroundings.
Yeah.
What do you guys say? Do we continue on foot?
Yeah.
If we have any other choice, is the coach around?
No. Not from what Grimvald was able to see.
Coaches?
You did see some parts of a coach which were formulated in creating the cages which contained you. They seem to be sort of taken apart and reassembled rather crudely to house you. But there are no coaches nearby. It's maybe from where you are a few hours' travel by foot.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, if we could see it, we can walk there. So, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. And on this note, William spying over in the distance Bolgenhafen. Excuse me, I will have to bid you adieu, as my travels are actually to take me to a small hamlet outside. I will thank you for your help, and it was a pleasure serving by your side. Should you ever need me, you will be able to find me back at Moorland Fort, and by the name of William Gruben. He gives you a proud bow and once again tips his hat toward you, bending over a full 90 degrees before rather joyously stepping onto the down the hill sort of to the west of where you're headed. But looking fairly joyous. Like he's... One
I
moment.
just curse at myself for not stealing his rapier.
AC first, what did you say?
Oleg just called out after William, watch out for bottles.
Indeed. He seems to have let go of the fact that you bottled him over the back of the head and be quite just happy to be alive right now. Grimvald, were you saying something?
I was just reconfirming the information. So his name is William Gruben, and
William
he will be in
Gruben.
Moorland Fort.
He will be in Moorland Fort, indeed, which is somewhere between you and the Axbite Pass. It'll be somewhere where AWC would be, apologies, somewhere where Oleg will be familiar with sailing back and forth to. Right.
Fair enough.
So, taking your first steps forward, you begin your slow descent down the side of this rather steep-looking hill, and it takes you probably about 30 minutes just to simply reach the bottom of this, stepping down cautiously with the occasional bit of loose rock. It's generally grassed over. The hills here are looking quite fresh in the early morning. Spring is not quite upon you yet. Winter is just departing, and it's still a little bit fresh, but not to the point where you're necessarily freezing. It's just a pretty brisk and fresh-looking morning. But you can see the sun set raising up over in the distance and the mist around the sort of local hills starting to clear.
Do we meet any road wardens along the way?
Well, you do reach your point down to the road and begin your trek toward home. And approximately 1 hour later, after moving in between the occasional patch of woods, then the occasional grassland, you so far have not met anyone. But moving around one corner, you see in front of you a cart. This cart currently has a woman stood beside it. She seems smartly, sort of elegantly dressed, and she seems to be dazed. The cart's progress has been blocked by some apparently felled trees that are laying across the road. She doesn't appear to be injured and seems to have has not noticed your approach.
I'm just going to hail her over. Guten Tag! I'm just going to yell if she reacts in any way.
She turns her head towards you and sort of does a little bit of a small reserved wave at you and then turns back to look towards two bodies that are on the floor in front of her. And as you're walking forward, you can notice one of them would appear to have an arrow coming out of the body's throat.
Oh, what do we have here?
Kind of gruesome.
So as the four of you... We good? Okay. So as the four of you approach, she does recognise you or acknowledge you and turn towards you. Do excuse me. The bandits came at us from the woods over there. My bodyguards, Kurt and Helmut, they tried to fight them off, but I guess they were outnumbered. These poor men have died defending me. And for what? All of my belongings were stolen, and these blackguards, they got away with it. And she pauses to look over each of you for a few seconds. Perhaps Sigma has answered my prayers, though. You look like a competent bunch. Perhaps, look, I am desperate for assistance. They have stolen something very valuable to me. They have stolen my papers. I'm a lawyer from town. And without these papers, I will be ruined. There was maybe three of them. They were wretched men. And, of course, I will give you... I have 5 gold crown. So I don't have it. They have it. They took it. But you will be welcome to it.
Ooh.
I just smirk. Also, can I tell if she's lying?
You can do a insight check. If they do intuition check. Apologies.
Intuition. Okay. Do we get any bonuses?
If you can assist each other, so you could have a couple of assists with this. If the group of you are sort of eyeing her up, so that would
it's very weird that they would leave her. So
I have 34.
I have 39. But I need
doesn't matter, it's just her.
Okay, you can have a plus 30 for the group assisting you in this, as you're all eyeing her up and down and making a collective decision. Yeah, she seems a little bit in a state of shock, but she seems like she's smartly dressed. She seems very, very nice and polite, sort of upper middle class, and does genuinely seem quite distressed at this.
Okay.
But you have no inkling that there is any malicious intent whatsoever. She seems pretty desperate.
Fraulein, why'd they leave you by yourself?
They, well, I do not know. They shot my good friend Kurt here with an arrow as he was getting out of the cart, and then they came in, they hit me, and you can see a sort of a gash on the side of her head. It's not bleeding badly, but you can see that she's been struck with something. And then they left it. They were here to rob me, I assume, not murder me, thankfully. Thanks, Sigma.
I just sort of, can I go up next to her and sort of hold her hand in a sort of a charming way and be like, Entschuldigung, Fräulein. Did you recognize if these men had any specific clothing, or was they wearing anything specific?
They were just wearing clothes. They looked like poor men. They were wretched looking, ghastly. I do not know. She points over towards the woods to her side at this point, and there's perhaps one silver lining. Helmut, before he was killed, he did manage to engage them with his sword, and he managed to wound one of them. They carried him away. And you can actually see a trail of blood heading through this sort of fairly short and trim grassland up toward the woods. There is quite an alarming amount of blood.
Mm-hmm. What can we ask her?
What's your name?
Oh, apologies. I'm sorry. I has not introduced myself. I am Elise Magirius. We are part of the. You may have heard of our name in town. We have a seat on the council. We are the sort of lawyers of town, as you could say.
Can you type the name out in chat?
Sure, it is.
Oh, like perks up at the word council.
For anyone familiar with the town, she would be the Megarius would be. You would perhaps know them to be one of the many seats of the council, and they are a fairly prestigious family. At least in terms of sort of merchant level, they're not a noble family, but you'd be familiar with the name at least.
Yeah, basically, they're higher up than we are in any case.
Oh yeah, they're sort of upper class citizens, especially as a
Bruder,
lawyer.
we should move the trees so Fraulein Magirius can go on her way back to Bogenhofen. And then we will retrieve her things for her, yes?
Yeah, that is a good idea.
I tell you what, I will wait here for a couple of hours to gather myself. Perhaps a road warden will come and provide me with assistance. But the town is still a long way, so should you need, you could. If you make your way back, we may be able to travel together.
Ooh,
You should
that will be
hide yourself. You never know when somebody else might come and hurt you. So make sure to hide yourself if you plan on staying here.
I will do my best. There are some bushes down by the side. Should
Are
anybody...
the...
Yeah?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, over to you.
I was just asking if the trees that were felled, are they in the way of the cart? Or not anymore?
They're in the way. One of the group had got out and started to move the cart along. In actual fact, it's a little bit late, but I will give you a full-blown visual of what's going on, and have to edit this in afterwards.
Okay.
So this will be what I should have loaded in some time ago.
It's all good, dude. This is nice. I like this.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm thinking, she's
But we're
desperate
already
to
up there
stay
with
here.
her now, right?
Yeah, you're stood there alongside her now.
I'd suggest we run off and chase after those thugs immediately. Considering if they're wounded, I wouldn't want to leave them any chance to recuperate.
She informs you that it was perhaps only some 15 minutes ago that this happened. It was pretty recent. Perhaps
So we should
longer.
try.
She's not 100%
Nice.
confident.
I'd have to inform you that I'm not much of a fighter, so I might cause some trouble. So I'll keep a distance from y'all.
I don't think
Sienna,
any of
do you
us are
have a
good.
weapon?
I have a dagger.
Good. So here's how it works. And I'm sort
The
of like
pointy
moving
end
up
goes
next to
in.
her. Yeah, the pointy end, boom, it goes in. Just thrust forward
Thank
with
you
your hand.
for the life lesson. I have never learned that in my life. I
Yes,
really thought this was a necklace. I didn't even know it could be used as a weapon.
It is apparent.
Yeah.
I will teach
So
you.
while they're being cute and squabbling, can I look around to see if I can actually set? Because I have So I'm thinking. So I had the class talent for outdoor survival, which is like
Mhm.
camping or making hides or blinds or anything like that. So could I
Yeah.
set her up something?
You could have a quick
Does she
survey
need
of
it?
around you. She seems okay. She's a little dazed and confused, but she's not her life's not in any danger right now. She just seemed to have got knocked round the head as they took her belongings, but she seems otherwise to be not in need of medical assistance.
And remind me again, which direction did these guys go in?
East from where you are.
So basically,
It's from where we
around
are.
there.
Oh, yeah, that's cute.
No,
Or the
east.
other east.
It's
Yeah.
one of them.
She. But fortunately, the blood trail leaves no real question. It's fairly apparent as to what went. As you are surveying the scenes around you, you can hear a cough come from the inside of the cart, and Elise goes rushing inside, and you can hear her sigh and help. Could you help me a second?
I'm just gonna go rush in.
Yeah.
While
inside-
they're doing that,
after you, what are you up to first?
I want to go sneak and go check out to the east and see if there's anything
You'll
immediately.
scout ahead
that
a little
might
bit.
be
If you roll me a perception check, while you're having a little look around in this sort of more immediate vicinity, inside Elise you can see knelt over Driver with a arrow in the sort of side of his stomach. He seems to be bleeding fairly profusely, and he's seems to be semi-conscious. She's trying to sort of shake him and wake him up, but he seems to have passed out, but is still kind of making some noises. Can anybody? Do any of you know what to do with this?
Does anybody have medicine or heal?
You can
No.
stop bleeding with a dexterity check at +20.
Oh, I can.
All
It
right.
is, was
I have a-
errated into the game following the game's release.
Can we assist with that?
Yes, you could all assist each other.
Yeah, please
So,
assist.
Sienna.
Well,
So
How
how's that
could I
gonna
have
work?
rolled that?
So
bad?
Sienna
Holy
attempts.
fuck.
She won't be assisting. But the other one of you will have 2 assists that wants to do a dexterity check. So Sienna basically goes toward trying to sort of put some bandages or some rags around where the blood's coming out. Not a lot of luck.
See, what I see happening with that roll is that she goes to walk forward to help him, and she falls flat on her face, and her mustache
Yeah.
straightens out before returning to a curl again from the shock of being hit in the face.
Possibly.
Yeah,
Possibly.
possibly.
Right. You. Of course, there are re-rolls as well, but this is up to you.
Whom is assisting who?
No, wait. Who has the highest dexterity?
40.
I
I'm
had
gonna assist you.
44.
Well, can we help Sienna get her face back up after splatting her face and just
As he's bleeding out, I'll allow you a second check. So you can attempt to, after sort of gathering yourselves around. This will take a few moments, a minute or two. You can then all chip in to try and tear off some rags, put them all together. So you can make a test, and then it will be plus 50.
Ooh.
Seeing as you're having a bunch of assists. Oh, sorry, plus 40. My mistake.
So who rolls?
You, Sienna.
I
you?
roll?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
One more dexterity check
Plus
with
50.
plus 40. 40, sorry.
Plus 40?
Yes.
Okay.
20 because stopping bleeding is a fairly straightforward task, and 20 as well because you're being assisted. Okay. So you're able to stop the bleeding fairly easily. It's the wound seems to have gone through his side, doesn't seem to have sort of done any, well, you're not a doctor, but doesn't seem to have done anything too bad. It stopped bleeding for now, and you've covered him up. He seems to be unconscious, but stable. Thank you for this. I will not forget. I will see if I can perhaps wait for a road warden. They come every hour, so this may be our best option. But we will wait here. I will maybe send him back with the road wardens quickly if they need to. But please, I need those papers.
We shall do our best, Elise.
Let's go, Brooder.
Yeah, let's go. Rogel,
Okay.
any luck?
And
going
Rogel's
to
perception
yell over and
test,
come
just going back to that. You can see it goes into a woods, but you decide not to step any further at that point and sort of hold your line there. It's some sort of 60 yard over in the distance, and you decide to wait for the others to join you. As you guys are following the blood trail, which is fairly easy to at least move up to the woodland, I'll ask for one further perception check to just see how well you're able to track this.
Okay.
Possibly you could do an outdoor survival if you want to actually follow the tracks.
Ooh, then I'm good at outdoor survival. Anybody assisting me with that?
I can do that. I have
I
good
can.
outdoor
Mhm.
survival as well.
I have 39. So
I have 40.
I believe I have 40.
I have
Yeah,
54.
Oh,
Okay.
then
That'll be a plus 30 for Rogel then.
that's a lot.
Jesus, wow, I'm not rolling good today at all.
Okay.
Are you serious?
Okay.
oh god.
Brilliant.
I just keep failing everything today.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's all right. You'll
God.
catch up. So, basically, you step into the woods, and the trees, even though with this time of year, the evergreen trees with their leaves and branches fairly close to the floor, you sort of move in some 20, 30 yards and find yourself a little bit of a loss as to where exactly the trail leads. You taking point on this time, and the others sort of turn toward you looking slightly bemused. It takes you a good 15 minutes or so to spread out, look again for the blood trail, try and find any signs of tracks, and you get there eventually. You retrace your steps, move back forward again, and up in front of you is a clearing. I remember to load this map, and rather curiously, in front of the group is a tent a fireplace. This isn't too far. This is perhaps only 150 yards from where you originally were, so it's quite impressive that you managed to get lost. But up in front of you is a man currently beside the tent, seemingly digging in the ground using a shovel. And I'll just let you know that I've made the tokens larger just because the grid's a bit small on this, but the distance is as the ruler says. So 1 square is still 2 yards. I just made the tokens a bit bigger for visual purposes. Alongside the tent are 2 wooden cages, and inside each a small individual. You can't make out the details from here. Sat poking the fire, a sort of ragged-looking individual who's currently poking it with a stick, and to the right, another individual that seems to be holding a short bow and currently going for a piss.
Okay. So we
Nice.
noticed them, but have they noticed us?
That, my friends, is the question.
Can I hear anything? What they're saying, if they're talking at all?
Not from the distance you're at the moment. You're some
Eavesdrop,
50
going now.
yards away. Okay. We're going to do this, and we're going to do that. Oh. Okay. I'll give you that first. Okay. So, as you are approaching Rogel and you see these individuals in front of you, you're able to quickly mutter a few words to yourself, moving your hands in a arcane manner. And you can overhear between the two, if I ping on the map, you can overhear between these two. Told you shouldn't have bloody gone to steal stuff. We're only supposed to be here to guard these two. Fucking you numpty. You kind of got Frank killed. Basically, they're squabbling, and interrupting that is Oi! There's some geezers over there! And I'm going to ask everyone to roll initiative. Or rather, I'm going to do it all for you, because I have combat tracker.
There you go.
Haha!
And
Yay.
give it stats to
Magic.
combat. And it will be Oleg to start off. Oleg, you are up first.
Bullocks. Alright, Oleg will move.
So as you'll notice, it's quite a long distance toward them. They're still some sort of 50 metres away. So it's going to be a fair old move to lug your way over there. But they all noticed your presence and got up and turned towards you. Or at least the 3 of them have.
Perfect. Action is going to be follow the dirt, I guess. Take cover.
Okay. So you're going to voluntarily go prone?
Can I ask if going prone will assist me in any way? From
If someone's
getting
shooting an
shot at?
arrow at you, yes, it will make you a much smaller target.
Yeah, going prone.
Okay. You're going to jump forward and hit the dirt. Right, and that will be a thug to go next. He'll turn and look towards you. Hey, who are you over there? Clear off! And he's going to start
Bibbidi
running
bobbidi
towards you.
bobbidi.
Bibbidi bobbidi boobidi. Next up, you can see a little conversation going on with the 2 individuals sort of starting to shake the cages. Now it is Grimwald to go. What are you up to?
Okay. Grimwald will go around this bush, if it's a bush in any way, and just hide behind this tree.
Okay.
And I'm going to yell, Bruder, take cover! We shall have the upper hand. And just sort of rub my hands and pull out my sword. And
Okay.
that's my turn done.
Wunderbar. And now we are off to this thug, who will move. He's going to turn around from going for a piss quickly, and he's going to use his simple action to to pull up his trousers a little bit. Turning around, he's going to try and keep a fair distance between you. He's going to move to here, and let's check on that range. Oh, he readies his bow, and looks like he's going to aim towards shooting you. And you can see at this point that this is actually quite a small bow. It's a short bow, and basically you're not in range yet. Short bows have a terrible range of 20, so you are okay. Next, we have the other thug, who is going to run up and join his compadre down here. And finally, it is Rogel, then Sienna to go. So, Rogel, what are you up to?
Rogel is considering his options. 1 second. Rogel has a lot of things that he can do. He can shoot at people, or I know what I'm gonna do. Okay, Rogel is gonna channel the winds of Ulgu into a mist that conceals him.
Okay. Gonna do a stealth. Go for it.
And I want to move. I want to stealth.
Yeah, you can stealth then move, or move then stealth. Either or. Critical success. So you cast it without a problem. You mutter a few words, and in front of you, Sienna, you notice that this small individual that you've just met, moving his hands around in a circular motion in front of himself as this sort of mist appears around his body, and it sort of becomes like this moving shadow and blending into the nearby darkness.
I'm just slightly spooked and slightly impressed at the same time.
Yeah, that would be quite the thing to witness. So where are you moving to, buddy?
I'm moving this way because I can't move very far at all. But as I'm moving past Sienna, I'm going to whisper that they are protecting the two in the cages. So that could be... Well, that's all I'm going to say. They're protecting the two in the cages.
That'll do. And it is you to go, Sienna. What are you going to be up to?
Would I be hidden behind these trees, or would I still be inside? Not that there's any difference.
Currently there at the moment, you are like at the base of a tree, so you do have a tree trunk right next to you. You're not entirely sure if they've seen you per se. Yeah, so...
Okay, just a second.
You have 16 yards of movement.
Yeah, but if I don't use my action, I can move...
You can sprint, indeed.
Yes. And how long would
that would be sprinting for 32.
32.
Yeah, we do a test for sprint. So you move the 16 first, and then we do a test.
Okay. I'll move my 16 here.
Yep. And then if you roll me a athletics test with plus 20.
Just give me a sec.
No problem.
16. Okay. What do I roll?
A athletics test. It's in the skills area.
Athletics. Yeah. Oh God.
And basically, the plus or minus...
Yeah.
Okay, so that all that means is because you got -1, you get to go 15 additional yards.
Okay, that's fine. Let me just measure.
And I would round upwards in this, so because each one of these squares is 2 yards, you're still going to move to 16.
Yeah. Okay, I'm here.
Okay. Right, and that is the thug to go. Wow. Well, that's a dead thug, so he's not going to be doing anything. Now it is Oleg to go. You are currently laying down.
Okay. Yep. Crawl speed, is that... How does that get considered? Or
I would
I
would put that as a walk speed. If you're doing like a left right military shuffle along the floor, I'd put that as your walk speed.
Okay, then I will crawl. Oh,
Rogel's just seeing this grown man
right here.
military crawl through the grass in front of him.
There's Commando Oleg in action here.
All right, and he also had his boat hook to help, pull his way up.
Okay. So you
and I use my walk, and then I guess I don't really have an action unless I want to throw.
Your action could be
right?
to stand up if that's what you'd like to do.
Well, the bush is kind of blocking line of sight right now, but he could easily move. Yeah, I guess I'll stand up.
Okay, so should we say crouched within the shrubbery?
Crouching within the shrubbery would make more sense, yes.
Okay. If you like, I could ask you to make a stealth test.
Mm-hmm.
To see if you're able to, let's say, hide yourself to some degree. Obviously, they know you're in the bush, and they're not that stupid. But
modifiers at all? Negative or positive?
I'll give you plus 10.
Really? Okay.
They'll still know you're in the bush. Like, Okay. You basically crouch up and sort of try and blend and become one at the bush from the man with the bow that's currently looking toward you. You feel like you're fairly well hidden. From Grimville's point of view, you're considerably taller than the bush. But hey, now it is Thug to go. And Thug is going to go. Oh, he can't make it. Right. He's going to continue running toward and shouting, "Oh, get out of here! Get out of here!" He turns actually a little bit more aggressive as he comes closer, pulling a knife out, Grimvold.
Okay.
And the two in the cage continue to rattle away. Grimvold, it is you to go.
Okay, I'm just going to simply back away from the tree and sort of surprise me like, and charge him if it's possible.
You may charge, giving you 1 advantage. He's not surprised because he knew you were there, but you have the advantage for charging, so you can make a opposed attack against him.
So with this sort of like, I'm going to show myself in front of him and then success.
Have at thee. Nice. And he is going to be rolling at a boop. Okay. So you have a 9 damage in total, and that will be an extra, that will be 13, and that is going to be a 10 wounds to him, to his left arm. So you basically jump out, have at thee, swipe away at his arm, and manage to sort of do a decent gash through the side that's holding the dagger. He looks pretty roughed up at this point, not in a good way.
Okay.
And you get yourself another advantage. Which you've put on. Thank you very much. Yep. And it is this man to go. Now, he did see Sienna move behind the bush. Now, he's going to use he's going to aim towards Sienna, who he sees trying to flank him. Oleg hiding in a bush, not so much of a threat. So we're going to make an attack, which is going to be ranged short bow attack. It is still not short range, so it's because short bows have a terrible range. He's going to have -10 to hit you, and he hits. Oh damn! That is a pretty decent hit for someone that's not very accurate. That is 5-7 minus your toughness. What would your toughness be, Sienna?
You don't allow her to dodge.
That's 3.
You can't dodge unless you have a shield. You don't do an opposed test for range attacks.
Yeah.
They are
So
unopposed.
I take 4 damage.
That will be 4 damage then. If you minus your toughness bonus, that'll be you down to 10 wounds. I need to reset your advantage, and he will stack 1 advantage over here. So unfortunately, Sienna, as you're running forward in the back of your leg, you feel a sharp sort of stab. Look down, and there's a small little arrow, perhaps some 12 inches long, just sort of gone through the side. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to be too bad. At least it could have been worse, but it bloody hurts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it fucking does.
Thug to go. Oh. Okay. This one is going to be making a charge at you, Grimvold. Hang in there, mate, I'm on my way. He's going to get an advantage for charging, and he's now technically outnumbering Grimvold, so he's going to be making an attack. And this is going to be, therefore, plus 30 in total. However, you do have your advantage. And he fails, so you can do your defense just to see if you... Oh, damn, you crit him. Ooh. Nice. So what this does, for anyone watching at home, or for those of you listening now, is while defending, you're able to parry his blow to the side and inflict a wound in return. Now let me roll a critical wound for you to see what you do. Ah, wow. So you managed to damage an artery here. He's getting 4 bleeding conditions, and until he receives surgery, every time he takes damage to his arm, he's going to gain more bleeding conditions. So basically, you're the arm destroyer. I think every single time you've hit someone in the arm thus far. But that's 4 wounds.
No, he did legs as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think he did a leg as well.
Crusher.
Yeah,
He's a limb taker.
Like the surgeon. Now, I do believe we do add the... it's just the critical. I don't think it applies as a hit. So as far as I'm aware, it's just 4 damage. It would count as a hit, wouldn't it?
It counts as a
hit. But they also gain 4
hit as well.
condition.
Yeah. Like you just basically managed to slice his arm off. He's gone.
Nice.
He is gone.
Okay.
He's gonna bleed out.
Basically, I'm just moving my sword upwards and just slashing his arm as he's about to hit me, and just like, ha 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 ha! Your futile attempts will never work on me. And I sort of
As the blood mist sprays in front of this effeminate gay German.
Right. Well, cracking job. You've added your advantage, and it's now Rogel's turn. The person next to this looks pretty shaken by this.
Well, Rogel is going to want to cast Shadow's Jealousy, which is a drop.
Okay. Okay. Right.
On the archer. He saw the archer take a shot at Sienna.
Okay.
He's going to want to make that archer drop his weapon.
Okay. So that'll be a plus 10.
How this works? Yes. So what I do is I roll this, and then you have to give me an opposed dexterity check at +0.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right, and this guy is. I think it's fairly safe to say we can commit this. But mind you, he might roll really well. So let's see how he does.
He has
+2.
to beat my SLs though. I got +4, so
you are fine. So you're able to look in the direction of this wretched-looking man with a pretty rank-looking beard, who's currently drawing another pretty small arrow in the direction of Sienna, and he just sort of looks down toward the bow for a second and sort of evaluates it before just dropping it to the floor. He looks pretty confused right now.
Yeah, what I do is I basically imbue it with shadows so that it slips through his fingers. And it just falls to the ground.
Even
he
better.
Doesn't know why.
Even better, yeah. He looks pretty freaked out right now.
And then... Can I still move, or is
you
that
have a movement to use? Yep, you have a movement to use.
Okay. Flee!
Okay. Move to hide around this tree. Okay. And Sienna, Shauna, it is you to go.
Sienna. Sorry, I misclicked.
That's okay.
Oops.
You can charge him if you want to attack him.
I want to charge him.
Okay,
from
that'll
here.
give you one advantage.
It's 15. Okay, 16. Sorry.
So you'll get +10 to your attack now for charging.
Yeah. Okay. Well, +10.
Okay, let's see how he rolls and see what happens there. He is going to roll a
unarmed.
Yeah. He's
he's
basically unarmed. He doesn't even have a dagger out at the moment. You still won, though. You still won. So you get to still do your damage to him because he is just looking down at his bow at the floor at the moment, looking horrified at this like weird-looking smoke coming off of it. And you just run up and blat him in the side. So he's going to take 4, 5, 6, 7 damage in total, and you get another advantage, bringing you up to 2. And bringing him down to none. He looks pretty scared now. And this is the dead guy to go, who shouldn't be. Oleg, it is you, my friend. You are up. What are you going to do?
Bruder, help me.
Brother, I will. Let's see how far this is. What's the circumference on this tree? Do I have to go around?
No, you could go through.
Stream.
Like, let's say the trunk will be like the middle couple of squares, so you'd be able to go to the east side of Grimvold. So you would be able to go here.
And is this too short for a charge, or would I be able to just?
No, it's within charge because that's still 8 yards
6
away.
yards.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, it's 8. Okay, considering 8. Okay, so I
yeah,
would
if
move
you go
there for 8.
diagonal, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So yeah, I would like to make a charging attack with my bow hook on
and
that
you'll have
feller.
one advantage.
He's surrounded.
And yes, you also outnumber him now because he's only engaged with 1. Do you have +30 to your attack?
Okay, one moment. Trying to master quick keys.
Trying to
Failing.
master faith.
It's all good. It's all good.
You said 30?
30, indeed. Okay.
Nice.
He is going to attempt to parry this with no bonuses for himself. Oof. Okay, so that is a mighty 7 damage for you.
15.
Plus 4, indeed. Bringing you to a hefty amount. Yeah, 15 in total. And that will be minus his armour. However, he only had 2 wounds left. So seeing your brother to the side parry a man's arm away and basically open up his arm in front of you, feeling a moment of courage, you charge out to help your brother and just stab this man in the head. He is gone.
Hell yeah.
Right. And on that note, it's his go. So he's basically just bleeding out there. Still some rattling coming from the cages. And Grimwald, it is you to go.
Grimwald will just run up. Do I have enough range to throw my sword?
He's dead. Didn't he die?
I mean,
Oh,
you can try. That is 16 yards away, so you can try.
Still ranged in the melee, though, right?
Yeah, what we're going to do is we'll do a strength check to see how far you can throw it, and then a ballistic skill test to see if you can throw it near him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, firstly the strength check.
But
Do I get any
didn't
bonuses?
that kill him?
No, he's looking pretty
okay.
rough right now, but he's still alive.
Okay. I misunderstood, sorry.
Any bonuses?
Well, you have your advantage, so you have 30. That's it.
Plus 30. Okay.
Okay, 5, and that will take you to 20-yard range, so you're in range, you're able to toss your sword. Roll me a ballistic skill. Now, because he's engaged in melee, you can take either a minus 20 and aim at him, or you can not take the minus 20 and it'll hit a random target.
I'll hit a random target. I'm feeling lucky.
Okay, so it'll be 50-50.
How can I eat myself? Oh.
Well, you're not quite dead yet.
This'll do it for you, dude.
I feel really lucky, so I'm just gonna take the minus 20 to hit him.
You're gonna hit me right in the face.
Okay.
Right in the face.
So it goes just swiping just wide of him. Nearly, but your sword goes flying over there. Okay. And on that note, seeing a sword just go flying past the side, having been just stabbed in the back, he's looking around him saying, all right, I'm off. All right, bye. And you're going to get to make an attack of opportunity there, Sienna, as he runs away and just bottles it. So you can make an attack with plus 20 and an additional plus 20 for your advantage. 40.
Okay, so 40.
40 in total, and he doesn't get to oppose this because he's running away. Okay, so seeing a sword fly by his back, decides to bottle it and run, and just as he does, you manage to slip your knife into the back of his ribcage and twist it, and it, you bastard, collapses to his knees. And he has been yeeted. Combat is over.
I'm just gonna go pick up my sword and quickly give a high five to Sienna, like, nice one.
I'm gonna go to these hoes. No, wait. First, I'm gonna loot this boy.
So while you're looking through the bodies, there are some voices coming from the cages now. But you can have a quick check on this individual. He has a short bow. Other than that, a dagger and some manky clothes.
Rogel isn't interested in the cage, guys. Rogel's interested in looking for other things.
Okay, so if you roll me a perception test, Rogel, just as you're looking around, and then we'll get on to the conversations. Are you looking at the dead people, Rogel, or just around the area?
I'm looking at all their stuff.
Okay.
All the things.
We'll come back to you in a moment because you're going to be doing this for a little bit. Hello there. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to have some company again. Now, inside the wooden cages, you see 2 dishevelled-looking halflings, and they're smiling at you right now with some sort of dirt-smeared faces as you approach. Oh, Reynolds Luck! Oh, it's surely with us today. The taller of the two seems to be the only one talking. The other one just looking very shy and coy right now. Excuse me, friends. Attempts to sort of compose themselves. Greetings. I am Matchwick Greenthistle, and this is my cousin Candlewick. We have been treated...
Candlewick!
It is Candlewick. We have been treated most unkindly by these ruffians, but you validly dispatched them, and, well, we would be in your debt if you could release us from this dreadful cage, perhaps? As he sort of shaking it back and forth. It's like it's wooden contraption of a cage.
And what's in it for us?
Well,
Rogel nonchalantly waves his hand in the back like, I'll do it in a second.
Oleg just ignores everything and begins fiddling with the cage locks.
We had a boat.
Okay.
Just gonna break it.
So
Forever locked.
you just make me a dexterity check with plus 30. Because it's a fairly... It's not so much a padlock on this. Yeah. You're able to just put your hand on and bing! So, hearing you say that, though, Sienna, like seconds later, the cage pings open. Well, as I was saying, we are the Green Thistle clan, and, we're from Bogarthen, and we sell delightful meat pies, and I'm sure you've probably heard of them, of course. We have carts everywhere, going to be expanding soon, of course, into buildings. It's the way forward in life. But sad to say, we were kidnapped only... How many days has it been, Matchwick? And Matchwick sort of holds up three whole days. Wow. Time has gone quickly. Now, no doubt they were trying to extort some money for our safe release or something of the sort. So would you be able to take us back to town? And of course, there will be a reward for you. Of course. Sadly, they have taken everything. But of course, if there is money on their bodies, it's all yours. We will not interfere with that. It is entirely yours.
Did you see where they put the loot they got?
Yes, of course. The stupid buffoons were arguing with each other as to whether or not they should be stealing from someone because they were bored. We of course, actually, going to be honest with you, we kind of encouraged it. We figured maybe it would lead to someone coming to rescue us, and, well, our plan worked.
Well, a person died because of that.
Yeah, you realize you encouraged them to attack a member of the council.
Also,
dear.
Another person is in critical condition.
That is very unfortunate. Well, I'm sure we can assist them somehow. But to answer your question regarding the coin, it's down there alongside the and points with his finger to a purse, which Thorn will have currently found and been sort of rattling. And within, you can spy, Thorn, a fairly large sum of gold coins. There are 8 in total. 8 gold crowns.
Well, hey guys.
Um,
And this is basically
So Rogel's going to
a
pocket
lady's
3 and
purse.
hand the 5 to the party.
Entschuldigung, Rogel, can I evaluate if these are real coins?
Yeah, I'll toss you one. Here you go.
Sure. You can
Do
do
you have any bonuses? Modifiers?
plus 20 because it's fairly straightforward.
I'm fairly blind.
Yeah, you bite into one and it seems like a coin.
And it breaks
You bite into it.
Yeah, you give it a little bite and it tastes like metal. Yeah, it tastes like metal.
Tastes like
So yep. Yeah. And
No chocolate inside.
it would pass as a gold crown as far as you're concerned.
So which one of you wants to play a game of cards?
Well,
For a little bit of...
I would gladly play some cards with you. Perhaps we could, you could take us home first. We would very much like to get back. And then...
All right, down to business, guys.
Yeah. Where's the paper?
Yeah. I'm about to get down to business with you guys real quick. So, double our finder's fee on you guys. And we won't let the council know that you're the one that set up their party to get attacked.
Oh, I like you. Very clever. Yes, that sounds good. There will be money in it for you, of course. These thugs took what we had, which wasn't a lot. We were only out for a little cheeky drink, just a cheeky one. But we do have coin back at home, so you'd be more than welcome to. And yes. Of course.
We'll negotiate
Can I-
that when we get back.
Indeed.
Can I check if he's lying?
Sure, you can do an insight check.
Boop. Nope.
Yeah.
Seems really nice.
I'm just gonna let you guys. I'm gonna let you guys know as Rogel, his character, he's never gonna roll an insight check because he always believes everyone's lying.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Why
That's how he treats
So
everybody.
you look suspiciously at them.
I'm going to look suspiciously at them. Okay.
And Rogel,
Can I
Sienna first then.
continue?
After you.
Can I ask them if they heard anything about why they were kidnapped or what the bandits wanted with them?
Well, of course.
Just said.
Yes, we have. We believe, don't we, Matchwick? Matchwick still hasn't said anything at this point, but is currently kind of shaking his, sort of nodding his head up and down with his sort of cheeks sort of waving side to side a little bit. Seems potentially to be a mute, just hasn't moved his mouth at all. Well, we believe because recently we had our planning application declined. I know, it's unbelievable. It's unfathomable. But we were going to expand into some nearby buildings, of course. Our pies need to be sold in the appropriate places, and we had it declined, and we were going to appeal this in a couple of days, and we think that the merchant or noble families are probably at the root of this. And you see, they were the ones that declined it, and they don't like our business, do they, Matchwick? Matchwick sort of nods again.
Family?
Well,
Which family in particular?
we're on slightly better terms with the Hagen, so we think it's a fairly safe bet that it would be the Rugbroder or maybe the Steinhagers, one of those two fiends.
Interesting. Well, thank you for the information.
Very welcome, my dear, very welcome. And Rogel, during your investigations, you have come across another 5 silver, which was located on one of the thugs. Each of them was armed with a dagger. However, one of them, which is down here, is wearing a sort of leather jerkin. Sort of a fairly, not a nice bit of armour. It's ugly, but it is leather armour, you spy. The rest of them are just armed in sort of ordinary clothes.
Is there anyone in my party that I've seen that might need armor?
I have a leather jerkin, so don't worry about me.
I have nothing.
Anybody not wearing leather armor
I'm not.
that I would have
doing
noticed right
anything.
away?
No one is.
No.
The only person that's wearing any armour other than clothes is Grimvald. Both Oleg and Sienna, neither of them are wearing more than just clothes.
Well, Rogel likes Oleg, so he's going to take that and give it to Oleg.
Okay. Sienna,
Because he's the good brother. He's the good brooder.
as you see this being passed over, Sienna, you realise that it's pretty ugly looking. It's not particularly nice on the eye, but you feel fairly relieved to not be offered this.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
like
I'm
the- He gives it the
Thank you.
sniff test, and then his mustache droops a little.
My
Sorry,
mustache
bro.
was all perky.
Okay. So it's
Cheer up, good brother.
It's basically you can add 1 armour to your chest for now, and we'll do the stats later.
Cool.
Right. Okay. So, quite all right if we make a move on. You know, it's wouldn't mind having a wash.
Did we find the papers?
So, yeah, that's
Papers.
my next question is, did I find the
Papers.
lawyer's papers?
Good question. Yes, within the tent, within a satchel. So the purse was laying just outside the area, but a satchel within contains about 5 or 6 rolled parchments.
Can I try and take
Okay.
a look at them?
You could ask to take a quick look if you like. As far as you're aware, they're rolled bits of paper with a squiggle on it, because I don't think your character can read.
No.
I can
Yeah.
read. What do they say?
Can
They
you
appear to be
tell me
legal documents. There's a lot of words on this. It's a contract of sorts. It would take some time for
Oh.
you to decipher, but they're some form of contracts.
Sienna, that's
Never
merchant
mind.
stuff. Too smart for you.
Hey, I can pretend to be a merchant as well.
It would
Pretend,
be nice
yes.
if you two could figure out what the documents were stating.
I mean, I
It
could
might
try. Do you want me to spend
Yeah.
the time doing that, or do you want to just go back?
How much
how much
time
time-
would it take?
You could read it for a minute quickly and just have a quick skim read. A quick skim read, you
Okay.
would realise it's the document is between her and the Steinhager family. As you can see, there is sort of space at the bottom for for that to be signed. So you can see his name has been printed at the bottom, and aside from that, you can see that it's to do perhaps with some expansion, warehouses, development, land, something of that nature.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving cogs in this paperwork, guys. It's way out of my depth. So I think we should just give it to the owner and get our due pay.
Entschuldigung. These might be the papers that the halflings want.
No, we don't want any papers. Take them.
Yeah, what are you
It's a
thinking,
shame.
bro?
Yeah, never mind.
Okay,
you
so
just go back. Take the
Rogel's going to
papers.
tell those two to hang out a fair distance away from the cart of the... Well, actually, you know what? We're just going to tell them to not tell her that they encouraged the thugs to come attack her. How's that?
Yeah.
Just don't mention it ever again.
Yeah.
We'll keep your secret. You just pay us
I just
extra.
want
Roger
my
that.
gold is just-
Sigma is the
So
word.
we'll bring them with us to her. Give her the documents, and we'll all go back to Bogenhofen.
I look
wanna
forward
get
to
my
it.
gold first.
Can we find our way back, considering we got
Yeah,
lost in the
it's
first place?
That's the question.
It's like 50 meters away.
Yeah, it's
well, I can
150
discern-
yards, so you know the direction. It's you know.
I know
as
which
long
way's
as,
north.
Yeah, you know as long as you go back the way you came and head in that direction, you'll get to that road. You might not be exactly in the right point, but it's
Close enough.
if you're just heading in that general direction, you'll be all right. So,
Fair
are you
enough.
moving out?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
there
want
was
to
nothing else that I
go.
found that was of interest, was there?
No, not along the way. Just the two small items. Sorry, not the items. The leather armor, which was on one, the short bow, which was on another. Has anyone picked that up?
I picked that
Anybody
up.
want that?
Okay.
but
It's also
Yeah.
pretty
Okay.
ugly. It's not very nice looking. It fired an arrow though, and there is a small quiver which does contain 5 arrows, and yeah, also. It's not the prettiest thing, put it that way, and you wouldn't want to show it off. But
Can
it
she
works.
reuse the arrow that was in her leg?
It seemed to have passed through during her sort of jigging about and stabbing of this individual over here, who for some reason has lost his.
That or when she went to go move, she snapped the arrow.
Yeah,
The base.
believable.
Moved on.
So yeah, currently your calf is twanging quite a bit, Sienna, but you're able to walk at a modest pace, just with a fair degree of pain.
Oh.
Right. So, on that note, you make your way back to the caravan, or cart, where you see Elise currently stood beside, leaning on, and she does appear to have loaded the 2 bodies into the back of the cart. I load you back on over, and you appear. She smiles in your direction and waves as you approach, and sort of raising her hands together in sort of an almost ready to clap motion. And bear with me one second, because you seem to be missing the 2 halflings, which are currently a little bit slow and lagging
That's
behind a
fine.
little bit. And a giant OLED is going to be copied and pasted over as well. But we'll deal with that problem as and when. Oh god, a giant Grimwald as well. Okay. Giant halflings, whatever next. Right. During the walk, they just follow behind you.
Pretty sure giant
That would-
halflings are.
Oh,
Giant halflings would be so good because they wouldn't be small.
so Elise looking delighted to see you again.
They'd be doubling.
Thank you so much. I see you have found them. Are they intact? I see you have company too. Are all of you all right? And she walks up to you, Sienna, at this point. I see you looks like you are limping. Is everything okay?
It's only but a flesh wound.
Of course. You look very brave. I'm so grateful.
About your gratefulness.
Thorn smugly holds up the papers and grins at
Thank you.
in his little gnome face.
She reaches out to take them. Do you pass?
I pull
Pass
them
on?
back.
Oh. What? What do you want?
Want you
May-
to tell us what's going on with these papers? I had a chance to glance at them. Seems like there's a lot of moving pieces going on here. I just kind of want to know. I'm curious.
Oh,
I don't need any. I don't need. I'm not doing this for nefarious reasons. I just like gossip. What's going on with this?
I do not think they were after the papers. They just took everything I had. The papers are for a warehouse in Borgenhafen. I should not speak about this. It is confidential. But
Come on.
as I tell you what, I will tell you this. It is between myself and Mr. Steinhager. In 2 days, we are going to meet, and we are going to be discussing an expansion and a business venture. Everything is legal. We will not be dealing with anything unscrupulous like this. That is all.
With
I
that, Thorn grins mightily, hands her the paper, turns around, and begins praying to his god.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Again, I do not think there's... I think I am the victim of greed here. I would be surprised if they wanted these. But anyway, thank you. And looks around you, grateful. Matchwick and Candlewick at this point have approached. Everything okay there? I do hope you're all right, madam. Oh, you are the green thistles. You look familiar. Why are you doing here? They basically exchange words for a few minutes and exchange stories and tales as to how everyone seems to have just been caught up in this venture. The two halflings explaining that the bandits seem to have gotten bored and wanted to get some extra loot, had decided to go and try and pillage somewhere, and as a result, Elise seems to have been caught in the crossfire, and likewise explaining that they were kidnapped and captured for a few days. Elise seems somewhat sceptical that the Steinhagers would be involved in their kidnapping. Monsieur Steinhager is not the nicest of men, but I do not know if he would do such a thing, but I don't know anymore. Right, anything else that you guys will be doing while here?
I want my gold.
Well, as far as you know, Rogel had picked up the purse, and I believe he handed you each something.
Rogel is currently sharing juicy gossips to his god, so you're gonna have to wait.
I basically just received 1 gold coin, and that's it.
Okay.
I didn't receive technically anything.
Son, did you know sharing is caring?
Come on.
Well, you did slaughter
You're
someone,
good
so
friend.
I toss you another one, Grim.
Okay, I take the other one.
So I think each of you have had
put-
one gold now, right? But Grim's up to 2.
Yeah, I'm up to 2. I put one in my left pocket and the other one in the right pocket.
There you go.
Do I see where he puts them?
Grimvold.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're watching, and your eyes currently are glistening like a hungry dog. Eyes wide
100%
open.
Young boy's flesh.
Indeed, boy toy. Right. So you can see at this point there that Elise is jumped on the carriage with the two halflings while sort of exchanging tales. The bodies have been put in the centre of the cart and sort of laid on top of each other. The driver as well is sort of propped up inside and seems to be semi-conscious, but not moving or saying or doing anything at this point. Elise points her head out to the side. Should we be making a move on?
Yeah. What about the
Yeah.
trees?
Yeah, should we try and move the tree?
Why don't we just go around them?
Yeah, that seems like
Yeah,
a
work.
more
I tried to tell
reasonable-
the drivers to do this, but they wanted to be chivalrous and remove it. I think I have learned my lesson. I will tell the guard that there is a tree and arrange for them to remove this. I would just like to get out of here.
Okay.
Okay. So, Elise is going to sit down sort of quite patiently inside. Who is... does anyone have animal handling? Or is anyone good at animal handling?
No. No.
What is that under? Charm animal?
It's an
It
enhanced
is.
skill.
It's an enhanced skill.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a 31 in charm animal, so no.
Oh, no, it is actually charm animal. At this point, one of the halflings... Don't worry, madam. Born to talk to horses, myself. Some, of course, know me as a horse whisperer in my spare time. Anyhow, it appears to be trying to impress her a little bit, and proceeds to take the reins, and straight away the horse seems pretty disgruntled at being whipped and moved about.
What roll is it?
That was an charm animal test. And
I can try.
you could ask to take the reins. Currently, Matchwick is having instructing the horse to move. The horse seems a little reluctant, but it starts to turn the cart. You could attempt to sit alongside and provide some assistance.
Nah, let's go. This is funny.
Okay. So the horse seems to be a little bit spooked, perhaps. Different driver. It sort of looks, moves its head side to side, a little flustered, and begins to sort of slowly start moving toward the side, around the tree, and ahead of you, over in the distance, still a fair way away right now, you can see your beloved home over in the distance, but quite yonder in the distance. The pace of the cart by now is pretty slow, fully loaded, and it's more or less a walking pace, just a little bit more comfortable. But a few stories and conversations are had along the way. Now, you'll be in this cart for some hours, so any conversations you wish to have here, or anything you would like to ask or discuss?
If anybody else is talking, I would like to overhear them, like as we're walking across. But otherwise, I don't have anything to say. I just keep to myself.
Okay.
And if they're whispering, I want to eavesdrop on them.
Most of the journey... Sienna, anything?
Same.
Same. Okay.
I want to hear what's going on.
Most of the journey's taken up with Matchwick having a discussion with Elise about the town, sort of boastfully discussing their latest ventures and expansion, and also the tale of how they were incredibly rudely had their expansion declined to them. And she seems to sort of raise a few eyebrows at this, exclaiming that it is unusual for that having been done, however, that the noble families are known to suppress other businesses, so it is possible that they would have done so in order to try and keep the monopoly on various goods themselves. And they proceed with various sort of bits of small talk, and nothing necessarily afterwards that passes as anything more than sort of pleasantries. Right.
Rogel during this time is going to be focusing on his second sight and deep breathing, trying to regulate the winds of magic that he's just used within himself, as well as trying to observe around them to ensure that nothing, because he's paranoid.
Okay.
He's always on guard.
Okay.
Is it possible for Oleg to take a look at his wounds that he received last session? and see if he can do anything further for himself?
You will be able to once you rest at the moment. So the heal, you can basically attempt to heal once per day within this game, which we did at the end of the last session. So you will be able to sort of RP-wise sort of...
sitting on a cart was a rest-ish state.
It'll need to be asleep, and the following day. There's not a lot of kindness within the healing in this game.
Okay,
Yeah,
then he's just going to work on shaking the lice out of his new leather jerkin.
Okay.
Used leather jerkin.
Okay. You managed to sort of get a little bit of the dust off and sort of some bits that even seem like they might have a bit of mould on them. This is... it scrubs up fairly... a bit better, at least. It's still ugly. It still doesn't look very nice, but it is leather, and it's fairly thick and robust still, so you get some reassurance it will give you some protection. Now, would anyone like a 5-minute breather?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
5-minute breather
I
it
need
is.
to breathe.